So my dear children, in the earlier chapters we discussed the theoretical parts related to the lesson blood circulatory system. Now within this chapter we'll be discussing several questions related to the circulatory system. As usual, first of all we'll be discussing questions related to the textbook. So let's go for the questions given. Select the correct or most suitable answer. So in these you have to select the most suitable answer or the correct one. Aorta starts from. So aorta is the main artery connected within our body. So you know that aorta is going to start from the left side of the heart. Especially aorta is connected with the left ventricle, my dear children. So let's go for the answer. Left ventricle. Yes. The left ventricle. What are the blood types that can be transfused for a person with the blood group B? What are the blood types that can be transfused? So transfusion means given. So blood types that can be given to B. So B and B is matching. O group can give blood to B. So B and O, answer is number 3. B and O. The universal donor and the universal recipient. So first of all the donor and the next the recipient. So the universal donor which can donate blood to anyone is O and the recipient is AB. So O and AB. O is the universal donor. AB is the universal recipient. Next one. Following are some ideas given by student about blood transfusion. Right? Following are some ideas given by a student about blood transfusion. Compatibility of blood group is compulsory. Correct. Compatibility of blood group is very compulsory. It's important. Correct. RH minus blood can be transfused for a person with RH plus. Transfused means can be given. So RH minus blood can be given to a person with RH plus. Absolutely right, correct, no problem. Minus blood can be given to a plus one because plus means the protein is already getting produced within that body. So that body can provide the necessary protein, necessary rhesus factor for the negative blood which is received from another person. So this is correct. Only RH minus blood can be transfused for a person with RH minus. That is correct. Only RH minus can be given for a person with RH minus. If a person is having RH minus, then the protein rhesus is not getting produced. Unfamiliar with the rhesus. So if the body is unfamiliar, then we can't give a positive thing. We have to provide the negative, which is the unfamiliar one. Okay? So this is also incorrect. So the correct statement are, all of these statements are correct, my dear children, right? Compatibility and about the transfusion between the RH plus and RH minus. All of these things are correct. Right then, during an internal bleeding, the blood cells that help for the blood coagulation are, it's very simple, my dear children. Internal bleeding, the cells that help in blood coagulation are not red blood cells, not white blood cells, but platelets. Right? Platelets are the ones which are important factor in clotting of blood or coagulation of blood. Then Following are some ideas given by a student about the functions of blood. Okay, ideas given by a student about the functions of blood. Carries oxygen to the body cells. Correct. Red blood cells carry oxygen to the body cells. It is correct, right? Kill pathogenic microorganisms. Correct. Pathogenic microorganisms killed by white blood cells. Correct. Agglutination occurs when transfer in blood. That is also correct, right? Agglutination occurs upon the transfusion of blood. When transferring blood from one person to another person, agglutination may occur if the blood is not getting compatible with the donor's blood, with the recipient's blood. Okay, the recipient blood will coagulate. So it is correct. It's not coagulating. It's referred as agglutination. It's correct. So my dear children, all of these statements are correct. So the functions of blood, yes, the fourth one you can observe all of these things are correct. Right then, use only the numbers in the figure when you answer the given questions related to the human heart. Now it's important to write the answer only by using the numbers, my dear children. Don't write the exact answer. I mean, like, don't write the part which is related to it. Don't write the name of the part. But remember to write down only the number indicated by that certain part. Okay. So if the question is asking mention only the number, then you have to mention the number itself. That's it. Right. Then we'll go for the questions given. What are the two veins that open to right atrium? So first of all, we'll identify which one and which one is the right atrium. So I told you a much easier way to identify. When you check a figure, always the thickest wall contains the left hand side, my dear children. The thickest wall contains the left hand side because the left hand side carries more pressure. It contains more pressure because that's the side which is going to pump blood towards the body parts of our body. Okay, so therefore, my dear children, go for the thickest side. So thickest side is this, as you can see here when you compare the walls, right? This is the thick side. So this should be the left and this should be the right. So question is asking, what are the two veins that open to right atrium? So right atrium, this is the right atrium. So this one, number one, right? And the other one is this one, which is coming around here, number 8. Number 1 and number 8. Then the next one, write the numbers of bicuspid valve and the tricuspid valve. So here, number 9, you can observe the tricuspid valve. Number 9. Then at number 10, you can observe the bicuspid valve. So number 10, number 9, tricuspid. Right? Number 9, which is the right hand side, contains the tricuspid valve. Number 10, which is at the left hand side, contains the bicuspid valve. Right. Write down the names of the 4 chambers and the relevant numbers. Names of the 4 chambers and the relevant numbers. So they are asking to write down the names and the numbers both. Okay then. Write auricle. Right auricle. This is right auricle number 2. Left auricle. Left auricle number 5. Number 5, left auricle. Right ventricle. Right ventricle. So this is right ventricle. Okay, the right ventricle. So right ventricle is number 13. Right? Number 13. Number 13 and number 11 both refers to the same, but we'll mention as number 13. Right? Number 13 is the best option. Number 13. Then left ventricle. Left ventricle. So left ventricle number 14. So right auricle number 2, left auricle number 5, right ventricle number 13, left ventricle number 14. Okay. Right? So these are the answers for the second question, my dear children. Okay. 5 good habits, right? 5 good habits that help in maintaining a healthy circulatory system. So you have to write down 5 good habits that we need to follow in maintaining a proper and a good circulatory system. Right. Number 1. Taking more fruits, vegetables in meals. So taking more fruits and vegetables in meals. In order to get a proper nutritional level, we have to take more fruits and vegetables. Then quit from liquor and smoking. Right? Quit from liquor and from smoking. Then number 3, having a stress free mind. Having a stress free mind. That is also very important, my dear children. I told you that our mind should be stress free. Okay. So having a stress free mind. Then number 4, doing exercises. Right? Doing exercises for our physical fitness. Then having a proper body mass index. BMI. So my dear children, these are the steps. These are like 5 steps that we can follow to have a good circulatory system, healthy circulatory system. Taking more fruits, vegetables in meals. Quit from liquor and smoking. Having a stress-free mind. Doing exercises. Then having a proper body mass index or having a good BMI, a proper BMI, body mass index. So these are the steps that we can follow, right? These are like 5 steps that we can follow to have a good and a healthy circulatory system. Right then. So my dear children, we discussed the questions related to our textbook. Now it's time to discuss several MCQ questions under the extra exercises. Okay, so let's head on to see what are the questions given under the extra exercises. What is the circulatory system? The body's breathing system. Not at all, right? The body is system of nerves. No, it's not the system of nerves. The body is food processing system. No. The body is blood transporting system. Yes, my dear children. The blood transporting system is the one which is referred as blood circulatory system. Quite obvious, right? Next one. From what source do cells get their food? Blood, oxygen, other cells, carbon dioxide gas. What source? Now, what is the source of receiving their food? So, their food means their nutrition. So, nutrition is being received for the cells through blood. So, blood should be the answer. Right? Blood is the answer. Next one. Why is oxygen important to blood and to the cells? Oxygen helps the blood to clot. Incorrect. Oxygen is not going to help blood for the clotting process, right? For the clotting process, platelets are the ones which are important. Oxygen brings food to the cells. We'll keep that thing. Oxygen is necessary for cell growth and energy. We'll keep that thing also. Oxygen is not important. Carbon dioxide is the most important substance to the body. We know that carbon dioxide is a good example for an excretory substance. So it's getting removed from our body. So it's totally incorrect. So you have to select one of these two answers. One of these two are most accurate answers for our question given here. Let's read. Oxygen brings food to the cells. Oxygen is necessary for cell growth and energy. My dear children, you know that to get energy we need oxygen, because oxygen gas is the one which is important in production of energy within our body. How come? Because oxygen is going to burn simple foods like glucose and to produce energy necessary for the biological activities within the cell. So my dear children, the accurate answer would be oxygen is necessary for the growth and for the production of energy. Right then. Next one. Which type of blood vessels carries blood away from the heart? Carries blood away from the heart. So if blood vessels are carrying blood away from the heart, not towards the heart veins, away from the heart, arteries. So arteries are the answers. Arteries. Arteries are the blood vessels that carries blood away from the heart. Okay, that carries blood away from the heart. Next one, question number 5. Which of the following can be best be compared to soldiers in the body? Which of the following can best be compared to soldiers in the body? Soldiers in the body means those are the defense mechanism. So what are the things can be considered as the defense mechanism or the soldiers within our body? White blood cells, right? So you know that white blood cells are the ones which helps in protection of our body from pathogenic microorganisms. So is there any answer? Yes, my dear children, you can observe the white blood cells in the fourth answer, right? So soldiers within our body, the immunity system, right? So soldiers are going to protect a certain country. In the same way, white blood cells are going to protect our body. White blood that flows from the lungs to the heart, bright red rather than the dark red. So blood that flows from lungs to the heart, lungs to the heart, lungs to the heart. So if the blood is flowing from lungs to the heart, it should carry oxygen. That's why it is in bright red color. It is oxygenated blood. So my dear children, the blood which is carried from lungs to the heart, it carries oxygenated blood. Let's see. Oxygen makes it red. Carbon dioxide makes it red. Gastritic juices produce the red color of the blood. The lungs add a pigment or a dye to blood as it flows through them. So my dear children, the answer is oxygen. I told you that when blood is flowing through the lungs, oxygen is getting mixed with the blood. So that is the reason why oxygen or the blood is getting converted to bright red color. Okay. Then the next question, what part of the blood carries minerals, vitamins, sugar and other foods to the body cells? Very simple, my dear children. We know that the transportation method or the main transporting agent within our blood is the blood plasma. So is there any answer? Yes. Blood plasma is the answer for this thing. Blood plasma is the one that carries all the substances which are dissolved within the blood. Okay. So plasma is the answer. What is the main job of the red corpuscles in the blood? So red blood cells or red corpuscles, they bind oxygen, right? They bind oxygen gas and contains a pigment called hemoglobin, and hemoglobin helps in binding oxygen gas. So red blood cells or red blood corpuscles bind oxygen and it helps to transport oxygen within the body. So let's go for the answers. To fight diseases, incorrect, that's from white blood cells. To clot blood, incorrect, by platelets. To transport oxygen to the body's cells and carry away carbon dioxide from the cells. Yes, my dear children, this is the answer. Transporting oxygen to the body's cells and carry away carbon dioxide. Then the fourth one, transport carbon dioxide to the body cells and carry away oxygen from the cells. That is incorrect, because blood is carrying carbon dioxide, however not to the cells but out of the cells. Okay, right. Which element in the blood is round and colorless? Okay, it should be round and colorless. So round and colorless. Plasma, you know that's the fluid. So they are asking about the element. Okay. So plasma is the fluid or the liquid. Platelets, those things are fragments. Cellular fragments. Right. Next one, red corpuscles. Red corpuscles, in the name itself, it is referring about red corpuscles, so red color, right? And the other thing is that it is not round, it has a biconcave shape, both the sides are concave. Then I told you that These cells, the white blood cells, they are in a spherical shape, a round shape. So my dear children, white corpuscles are the answer. Then next one. What would happen to people who have an open wound and whose blood did not clot naturally? They may bleed to death. They would have to take regular doses of platelets. They would have to take regular doses of plasma. Nothing. Clotting is not important. Actual blood clotting is really important. So we can ignore the fourth answer. They would have to take regular doses of plasma. Incorrect, right? They would have to take regular doses of platelets. The question is asking what would happen to the people who have an open wound and whose blood did not clot naturally. So if a person is having a clot, if a person is not going to clot his blood upon a wound due to any kind of a disease or any other factor, right? It can be a genetical disorder or whatever, right? So if a person cannot be, or if a person is not having an ability to stop the bleeding, actually it's not the fault, actually in here the fault is not with the person, fault is with the platelets, right? So my dear children, if the platelets are not there, then the blood will not clot, so blood will lost to the external environment rapidly, and there is a possibility that person may die because of losing too much blood. So the answer would be they might or they may bleed to death. Right then, so we'll go for the next question, my dear children. What is the organ that pumps blood all throughout the human body? Very simple, my dear children. I told you that heart is the pumping agent. Heart is the one which is acting as the motor or the water pump, right? So pump is the heart. So we'll go for the answer heart. Yes, here you can observe the heart. Next one. How many major types of blood have scientists discovered? Major types of blood have scientists discovered. So there are 4 main types of blood. You know that. What are the 4 main types of blood, my dear children? A, B, AB and O. Those are the 4 main types of blood groups that we can identify within our society. So scientists have discovered 4 types of blood groups. Okay. Right. Why does blood turn dark red as it circulates through the body? So, in the earlier question, you could remember when it is circulating around the lungs, blood turns to bright red because of having or because of adding oxygen. When it is going to circulate around the body, it turns to dark red. What is the reason? Because, my dear children, the absorbed oxygen now getting converted to carbon dioxide because cells are absorbing oxygen and giving away carbon dioxide. So let's go for the answers. We'll see what are the given answers. It starts to clot. Incorrect. It's not clotting. It gets old and dirty flowing through the body. Let's keep that thing. Oxygen in it replaced with carbon dioxide gas. Now that is my answer. Right? So, old and dirty we can ignore. Right? Then natural color we can ignore. It's not the natural color. Right? Oxygen is getting replaced with carbon dioxide. That's why we can observe the darker red color, right? Dark red color. If not, we can observe the bright red color, right? Okay. What is the function of blood vessels and capillaries? Blood vessels and capillaries, let's see. They pump blood to the heart. They pump blood to the heart. Okay. They filter impurities from the heart. They carry blood to all parts of the body. They carry messages from the brain to muscles. So my dear children, they pump blood to the heart. That's referring only to a one certain type of vessel only. Pump blood to the heart. Pump blood to the heart. One certain type, a vein only, right? They are asking about the vessels and capillaries. So vessels and capillaries means veins and arteries both. So this is referring to arteries, veins and capillaries, all the vessels. All the vessels, what they do? They carry blood to all parts of the body. Right? They carry blood to all parts of the body. Then the next one. How many chambers does the heart have? How many chambers are there? 2 ventricles and 2 auricles. Left ventricle, right ventricle, left auricle, right auricle. All together there are 4. The atria are the upstairs chambers of the heart, and these parts are the downstairs chambers. So upstairs chambers are referred as what? Atria. So these are the downstairs chambers. So downstairs chambers means the lower ones, ventricles. Valves, no, ventricles. Ventricles are the lower chambers, my dear children, or downstairs chambers. Next one. You can keep your heart strong by having long sleeps. No, incorrect. If you have long sleeps, then your body will get fat because of the excess sleep, and your body will get lazy because of lack of exercises. So it's not probable to get oversleep. Okay, you have to get sleep, but however, to a mentioned value for a day, like about 8 hours, right? Having oily foods, totally incorrect. I told you that having oily foods are not a good habit, right? It is not a good habit to have a good healthy circulatory system. Skipping meals, absolutely incorrect. Nutritional level would reduce, and there might be a possibility to have different kinds of diseases associated with the heart and circulatory system. Then doing activities like playing outside and swimming, that is our answer, because these would give out a physical exercise to the body. So therefore, it is very important to have physical exercises. So physical exercises helps in maintaining a good and a healthy circulatory system. These are the tubes that carry blood back to the heart. So the tubes that carry blood back to the heart. Blood is taken to the heart by veins, away from the heart by arteries. So back to the heart by veins, right? By veins. Away from the heart by arteries. Back to the heart by veins. Right. AB blood group is called AB blood group. So this is very easy, my dear children. AB blood group is called as the universal recipient. AB group is the universal recipient, right? AB blood group is the universal recipient. AB blood group can receive blood from any of person, right? Any person can give blood to AB group. So my dear children, AB blood group is called the universal recipient. Don't mention as just a recipient. It's the universal recipient, AB. Substances are mainly transported by plasma, veins, blood cells, arteries. So you know that substances are mainly transported by blood plasma. So the universal donor is the, now in the earlier question they were mentioning about the universal recipient. Now it's asking about the universal donor. So it's quite simple, my dear children. We know that the universal recipient is AB. Then the universal donor is O. So O group is the answer. O is the universal donor. O group is the universal donor. Right? A substance transported by blood. Substance which is getting transported by blood. Water vapor. Correct. Water vapor is getting transported by blood. That is correct. Hormones. Correct. Hormones are also getting transported by blood. Oxygen. That is also correct. Then, my dear children, all of these substances are getting transported by blood. Compatible blood group for AB. So you know that AB group is the universal recipient. Universal recipient means AB can take blood from any of the group. So my dear children, AB can take blood from AB, right? From AB, from O, and from B. So therefore, all the above. AB can receive blood from all the groups in these categories. So for each and every blood group is compatible with B group, AB group. Then the next one, factor which is important to consider during blood transfusion. The factor which is important to consider during blood transfusion. Condition of the lungs, not need. Number of times which the blood is given by donor, that is also not need. There are donors, right, in the world which have like donated more than 100 times of blood. It's not relevant actually, the number of times which the donor which donated the blood. It's not that much necessary. Next one, plasma type, no need. Rhesus factor, yes, rhesus factor is very important factor in transfusion of blood. Then the next one, right, next question, my dear children. So in the next question, they are asking, valves can only be seen in, right, valves can only be seen in arteries. You know, at the starting position of the arteries, like in the pulmonary artery and aorta, at the starting position we can observe valves. These things are referred as semilunar valves. So it is correct. Next one, veins. Of course you can observe veins, valves inside the veins, right? It helps to avoid the backflow of blood. Okay, it helps to avoid the backflow of blood towards the heart once again, towards the body organs once again, right? So it is opening towards the heart, these valves which contains within the veins. Okay, so veins contains valves, right, that can lead only to the heart. Blood is only leading towards the heart, that is it. Okay, then text one, both arteries and veins. Yes, so therefore valves can be observed in both arteries and veins. Both arteries and veins contains the valves. right? Next one, special property of arteries. Special property of arteries. Not having valves. In the earlier question we discussed that thing. It is incorrect. Arteries have valves, right? At the starting position, arteries have valves. Transporting blood out of heart, right? Transporting blood out of heart. Then elastic nature, and given none of the above. So my dear children, none of the above is incorrect. There is correct answer, but however, there are two correct answers. Number one, it has an elastic nature. This is correct. Number two, arteries are going to transport blood out of the heart. That is also correct. Transporting blood out of the heart. That is also correct. So my dear children, two answers are correct. Now what you are going to do? You are going to underline both the answers. No, I told you that don't do that stupid thing. Okay, if there are two or more possible answers, right, especially sometimes they might give two answers. Okay, especially sometimes they would give, sometimes. So I told you that this is rarely occurring, very rarely occurring incident, this thing. They will give two correct answers. So sometimes you may underline both the answers, totally incorrect. You won't be given marks. You know these things are correct. You underline both the things. If you underline both the answers, then my dear children, you get it wrong. You won't be receiving marks. The paper itself, the answer script itself is going to say that 2 or 3, not 2 and 3, both 2 or 3 means that you need to underline only one. Either 2 or else 3. Okay, so remember to underline only one answer. If there are two answers, just underline only one. Don't underline both the answers. To do it much, or like there are some students who are very brilliant, okay, and they would answer both, they would underline both the things. If you are underlining both the things, then it would be wrong. So always, if you are given a question like this, make sure to underline just one answer, okay, out of the both correct answers. So I have underlined only one. I'm going to underline this thing. This is also correct. If you want, you can underline this one, but remember to underline only one, my dear children. Very rarely occur in cases, these things. Okay, deoxygenated blood received, stored in. So deoxygenated blood which is received are going to stored in. So deoxygenated blood which is going to receive are stored in right auricle. Then from right ventricle towards the lungs, then once again coming towards the left auricle, then to the left ventricle, then all around the body through aorta. Okay, so deoxygenated blood received, stored in right auricle. Right auricle. Question number 28. Blood is transported to the body by. Blood is transported to the body. Now blood is transported to the body by left hand side. Especially it is transported or pumped by using the left ventricle. So left auricle incorrect, right auricle incorrect, right ventricle incorrect. Left ventricle is the answer. Left hand side, the ventricle. Okay, left hand side, the ventricle. pulmonary veins are connecting. Pulmonary veins are connecting. So pulmonary means pulmonary veins. Those are the circulation, or that is the circulation that occur between lungs and the heart. So pulmonary circulation connects lungs and heart. Pulmonary veins are connecting lungs and heart. Next one, aorta is starting from, my dear children, very simple. Aorta is the main artery within our body that is going to distribute blood all around the body. So aorta is always starting from the left ventricle. So left ventricle is our answer. Left ventricle. Question number 31. Select the valve that carries only oxygenated blood. The valve or the vessel that carries oxygenated blood. So oxygenated blood is carried out by usually arteries. There is an exception, pulmonary vein, which is taking blood towards the heart from the lungs. Pulmonary veins. Pulmonary vein is the only exception that carries oxygenated blood. So usually veins carry deoxygenated blood, but however, if you take the pulmonary vein is going to transport, or it's going to distribute what? Oxygenated blood. Okay, it's going to transport oxygenated blood. So oxygenated blood is getting transported by pulmonary vein, my dear children. Okay, that's the only exception from the properties of arteries and veins. So here, let's go for the answers. Pulmonary artery, incorrect, because pulmonary artery, even though it is an artery, it is carrying out deoxygenated blood to the lungs. Pulmonary vein, my dear children, yes, this is our answer, pulmonary vein. You know that vena cava, they transport deoxygenated blood. So oxygenated blood only can be observed within the pulmonary vein. Select the valve or the vessel that carries only deoxygenated blood. Deoxygenated blood only. So pulmonary artery, like in the earlier case, carries deoxygenated blood. Vena cava, all the vena cava are going to transport deoxygenated blood. So above all is our answer for question number 32. Vena cava also going to transport deoxygenated blood towards the heart. Then pulmonary artery is going to carry that deoxygenated blood towards the lungs to mix with oxygen. Right then, not a blood corpuscle. So red blood cell is a corpuscle, white blood cell is a corpuscle, platelets, even though those things are fragments, they are considered as corpuscles. So my dear children, blood plasma, that's the liquid. It's not the material, it's the liquid. So it's not considered as a corpuscle. Select the chambers with oxygenated blood. So oxygenated blood can be observed, my dear children, within the left hand side of the heart. The left ventricle and the left auricle we can observe. At both of those chambers we can observe oxygenated blood. Because blood received from the body organs stored in the right auricle, which is deoxygenated blood, transferred into right ventricle, which is once again the deoxygenated blood, the same blood coming from the body organs, transported to lungs via pulmonary artery, still deoxygenated blood. Now oxygenated blood is coming from lungs towards the left auricle, then to the left ventricle. So left auricle and left ventricle contains oxygenated blood. Left contains oxygenated blood. Right contains deoxygenated blood. So left ventricle and left auricle contains oxygenated blood. right ventricle and right auricle contains, right ventricle and right auricle contains, my dear children, the deoxygenated blood. So left ventricle, left auricle is our answer. That's the place where we can observe oxygenated blood only. Then the next one, oxygenated blood distributed all around the body through. So all around the body, this oxygenated blood is going to distribute by, very simple, the first and foremost answer, aorta. Aorta is the main artery which is responsible in transporting oxygenated blood, my dear children. So aorta is the main artery that transport blood all around the body. Valve between left ventricle and left auricle. The valve between left ventricle and left auricle, left. So left ventricle, between left ventricle and left auricle, we can observe the bicuspid valve. If it is left, bicuspid. If it is right, then tricuspid. So semilunar valve, incorrect. Bicuspid valve is our correct answer. Between left ventricle and left auricle, we can observe the bicuspid valve. More than 50% of blood, more than 50% of blood, is quite obvious. More than 50% of the blood contains the liquid part, right? Actually 55 to 45. So more than 50% of the blood contains blood plasma, which is the liquid. So blood cells, incorrect. White blood cells, once again incorrect. Corpuscles, incorrect because 45%. Blood plasma, that's our correct answer. Main component in blood plasma. Main component in blood plasma. I told you that if you take blood plasma, more than 90% of blood plasma is water, my dear children. Not nutrients, not proteins, not any other gases, but water is the main component contained within blood plasma. Water is the main component contained within the blood plasma. Right. Circulation of blood between lungs and heart. Between lungs and heart. Okay. Lungs and heart. So the circulation of blood between lungs and heart. I think in the first chapter I explained there are two circulations that's going to occur within our body. So the two circulations are, number one, systemic circulation, number two, pulmonary circulation. Pulmonary refers to the lungs. So pulmonary circulation is the circulation that occur between lungs and the heart. So pulmonary circulation is the circulation, my dear children, that occurs between lungs and the heart. Pulmonary circulation. Question number 40. Disease associated with blood circulatory system. Disease associated with blood circulatory system. Dengue. Correct. Dengue, if you take dengue, you know that dengue is affecting for the platelet count in the blood. So platelets are related to the corpuscles in our blood, right? So it affects the blood circulatory system. That is correct, my dear children. Next one, hypertension. What is hypertension? Hypertension means high blood pressure within the system, right? So it definitely affects the blood circulatory system. Hypertension means the high blood pressure within the nerves or within the arteries or veins. When you take the valves, if it contains high blood pressure, then it is referred as the hypertension. High blood pressure. So it is correct. Then it is given heart attacks. Heart attack is an obvious answer, right? Heart is affected with the blood circulatory system. So therefore, heart attacks are directly affecting with the circulation system. So my dear children, all of these things are correct. All of these things are correct. So above all is our answer for the diseases associated with the circulatory system. Right, my dear children, so this is from that question we came to the end of our MCQ questions related to the lesson of circulatory system. My dear children, it's important to note out that MCQ questions are somewhat tricky. There might be sometimes, now these things would come very rarely, right? But however, there might be questions that having several correct answers. Sometimes when you are looking at the questions, all the answers may seems to be correct, right? Sometimes when you are looking at the questions, you may see that there are two answers which are correct. Sometimes the question, when you are checking out the question, there are no any answer at all. So these MCQ questions are very tricky, my dear children. So I know that you guys are pretty much like to answer MCQ questions, because those things are very easy to answer. I mean, like just we need to put a line, no, we need to underline the correct answer. But however, selecting the correct answer is going to be somewhat difficult, as these things are getting very tricky. So when you are answering MCQ questions, always be somewhat intelligent and don't do like the things which I told you, right? If there are like two answers, don't cross all these answers, but keep one answer, only put one answer. And here, if there is no correct answer, we have to choose the most accurate answer. Remember about that thing also. Okay, we are choosing the most accurate answer. Okay, we are choosing the most accurate answer in MCQ questions. No, it cannot be a correct answer, right? It cannot be 100% correct, but however, we have to select out of the given ones, we have to correct the most accurate one. So when there are several questions with the same answer, or when there are several answers for the same question, in that case also you have to, among the four answers, you have to select the most accurate and most closely related answer, then underline that one. That's the proper method to answer with these MCQ questions. However, my dear children, remember these MCQ questions are pretty much tricky. You're thinking that those things are very easy, but however, these things are very tricky. When you guys are going to do your O-level examination also in science, the difficult part is the MCQ part. It's because these questions are pretty much tricky and it's going to be somewhat difficult rather than the writing, rather than the papers which you are going to answer. Okay, so it's important to answer these MCQ questions more often to get good knowledge and to how to like select these answers among the four answers given, right? So my dear children, with this thing we have came into the end of our chapter. We came to the end of our chapter. So within this chapter we discussed several questions to the textbook and several MCQ questions related to the lesson. So within our next chapter we'll be discussing more questions related to the circulatory system. However, those questions will be in the writing form, so we have to write down the correct answer. So we'll discuss those questions within our next chapter then.